Okay, hola a todos. Sorry, actually, yeah, this class is supposed to be in English. Hi, and welcome to another English class with Richard. The subject of today is going to be reported speech. Before we begin, remember, if you're a member of this channel, you can join the conference, the Zoom conference. You need to go to the members tab in YouTube. I'm going to put that right now in the chat. If you're a member of the channel, please visit this link to find the other link so that you can join the channel. If you're not a member of the channel, you can join the channel with another link, which is basically, let me get that other link, this link here. You can join the channel with this link. And then you can go to the other link to get the third link so that you can join the class. Let's have a look. Who do we have in the chat? We have right now. I don't have any members in the conference. So who have we got in the chat? We've got Christian. Hi, Lewis, Irma, Nubia, Sergio, Luz, Juan Manuel, Claudia, Beatrice, Nirvana, Ilmero. So hi to you. Thanks for watching this class or attending this class. So as I said, this class, in my last class, what I'm doing right now is I am continuing with my B1 intermediate level course. So this course, started it last year, 2018, didn't finish it. And I've restarted it, class 19 or class 18 last week, sorry, class 19 last week, or sorry, on Tuesday, which was, can't remember the subject now of that class. What was the subject of that class? I've forgotten. And today we're going to carry on with reported speech. So in the description of this video is a link to the full course. Actually nearly finished this level. So there's a link to the full course. So let's begin the class then. Reported speech. So remember, this class is in English, 100% English, because it's intermediate level. So let's get the screen. Reported speech. Okay, good. Reported speech. So what is reported speech? What is reported speech? Well, here I have some, to begin, I have some examples of reported speech. So in each one of these, we have actually two examples. The one on the left-hand side, looking at the screen, this one here, which is also in quotation marks, this is what we call direct speech. Maybe I should put up there. This side, I don't know if I've got that the right way around on the, yeah, I think on the video it's going to be this side because everything is in reverse. This side is direct speech. These ones here, this here. The ones that are in quotation marks, I think I'll make them a different color. Direct speech. And the ones on the other side are what we call reported speech. So what's the difference between direct speech and reported speech? Let's make this center this, I think it's going to be better. So the ones down this side, let's make this a different color. The ones in green, let's make these green. These ones are reported speech. And these ones, the ones we're going to make these yellow, these ones are the reported speech. Sorry, these ones are the direct speech, the green ones. So let's begin with the first example of the direct speech. It says, I like running. I like running. So notice the thing about the direct speech, first of all, is that it is contained within quotation marks or inverted commas. These two little things here, which indicate that these are the exact words spoken. The exact words spoken. This is what we mean when we say direct speech. And then we have on the other side, we have the reported speech. So reported speech is when you tell a third person what somebody else said. You need to report the words of another person. So when you do that, you need to make some changes. So, for example, if the exact words spoken by the third person were, I like running, when we report that, we need to say, she said that she liked running. So you'll notice that there are some changes there. First of all, at the beginning, we need to use this verb here, said. This is what we call a reporting verb. Now, there are many reporting verbs in English, but the most common two reporting verbs are say and tell. And when we use them in reported speech, we need to put those verbs in their past form. So the past of say is said, and the past of tell is told. These are the two most common reporting verbs. There are many other reporting verbs. For example, another reporting verb could be, for example, suggest. But in this class, I'm not going to go into the other ones because that really is another level. But just to let you know that say and tell are not the only reporting verbs, but they are the most common reporting verbs. So you can see that we need to make some changes when we report what somebody says. Hi, Maria. We got Maria in the class. Maria, remember, you can join the class if you wish. What changes do we need to make? The first thing that we need to do is we need to add the person who spoke the words. In this case, it's a she, or it could be the name of a person. Could be, if we wanted to change it, we could say, for example, Maria said that she liked running. Then we need the reporting verb. In this case, we're using say in its past form, which is said. The that, I put that in brackets, in parentheses, because it's optional. You don't need to say that. Finally, we have the reporting of the actual words. So we need to change, in this case, the I to a she. And the other thing that we need to do is we need to change the verb here was in the present, and we need to put the verb in the present in the past. And the other part is the same. So we need to make tense changes. Well, the first thing is we need to use a reporting verb, say or tell. I'll talk about the difference of those in a minute. Hi, Raul. Raul, remember, you can join the conference. So the first thing we need to do is use a reporting verb. That is optional. Then we need to make a pronoun change. Normally we need to make a pronoun change. So, for example, if the exact words, the direct speech was with I, we normally need to change it to the third person, he or she. If the direct speech is you, again, we need to change it to I. For example, if he said, you need to do this, then he said, I needed to do this. And if the exact words or the direct speech was with we, yeah, it looks like, hold on, just let me check the chat, because Raul and Nancy are saying they don't have the link. Let me just go back there and get the link up there. Sorry, yeah, I didn't actually post it. Yeah, the link is now there. Sorry about that. The link is now there. You can join. Okay, let's continue with the class. That's so the members can join the channel. So they needed a link and the link wasn't there. So we need to make some changes when we use reported speech. We need to change we need to use a reporting verb. We need to change the tense. And also we will see in a minute with some other examples that sometimes we need to change the time or the place. Let's go on with some other examples. Example number 2, direct speech. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow. And the reported speech is, he said that he was going, this is actually wrong, I'll correct that in a minute, hold on. The reported speech is, he said that he was leaving the next day. This going is wrong, it shouldn't be there. He said that he was leaving the next day. So again, we can see that we need to make some changes. This particular, the first one, I like running, is in the present simple. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
Fine. And you?
I'm fine, yeah, thanks. I'm sorry, I was distracted. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't put the link in there. Let me just, because I've got a question.
Don't worry.
It says, can you please focus the screen? Let's make this a bit bigger. Yeah, there's a question in the chat, a question that always comes up in these classes. Could you please focus the screen? No, I can't focus the screen because the screen is already in focus. I am broadcasting this or transmitting this in high definition. The problem is that in your configuration, if it's blurry, that means it's borroso, you need to change the configuration on your in your YouTube settings on the video somewhere, depending on what device you're using. Yeah, somebody else said make the screen bigger. I've made the screen as large as I can. I can see it fine here on my tablet. I'm going to check on my cell phone just to see what it looks like, because I know a lot of people are watching this on a cell phone. So I'm going to check and see what it looks like. Yeah, the Beatrice, no puedes leerlo porque tienes que ir a las opciones y cambia la definición en tu dispositivo que tiene. Déjame ver cómo pasa en mi celular. So it's actually on a different internet. Let's have a look. See if it's blurry or too small. Got to skip the ad. So I've got this on my cell phone, and my eyes are terrible, and I can read that perfectly clearly. I think I can even show it on there. That it's actually clear. The problem is that people don't put their settings. For example, if you're on an Android system, you need to click. I don't know where it is you need to click. No, I can't find where you need to click now. Somewhere in there is like a settings. Oh yeah, you click, you get these 3 little dots come up. 3 little dots. And then you get this quality. You get quality. Actually, this is 420. So I can see this in 420. Yo puedo verlo bien en 480. Se lo cambio a 720. And that's very clear, very clear. So this is what you need to do. The problem is that you're watching it in very low resolution. Very low resolution. The transmission is high definition. So let's carry on with the class. This question occurs every class. So who we got in there? We got Raul. Hi, Raul. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine.
Great. And we've also got Israel. How are you, Israel, today? Are you there?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how are you? Are you at work?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. So let's carry on with the class.
At home.
Okay. Let's have a look. Let's carry on with the class. So we got to example number 2. Example number 1 was in the present simple, the direct speech. I like running. So when we report that, we need to say, we need to change the verb. And if the verb in the direct speech is in the present, we need to put in the reported speech in the past. Down here I have the tense changes. So here the first one is the present becomes the past. In example number 2, I'm leaving tomorrow. He said, got 2 that's there, I'll take one of those out. He said that he was leaving tomorrow. So again, you can see some changes. First of all, he said, then the that is optional. He was leaving the next day. So a couple of changes here. The first one is that the tense, again, this time the tense in the direct speech is in the present continuous. And in the reported speech, we're changing it to the past continuous. So again, here we have that rule. If the tense in the direct speech is in the present continuous, change it to the past continuous. We also have, of course, the pronoun changed from the I to the he. And finally, we need to change the tomorrow to the next day, because you may not be reporting this on the same day. So this is what I meant down here when I put time and place changes. If in the direct speech it's tomorrow, in the reported speech, we need to say the next day. If in the direct speech it's yesterday, we need to say the day before. We have some other changes here. If in the direct speech it's here, for I am here, and it becomes there. He said that he was there. If in the direct speech I say, this is my cell phone, in the reported speech it will be, he said that, two that's, well, we can actually leave out the first one. He said that was his cell phone. He said that was his cell phone. So time and place changes, 3 changes, pronoun changes, tense changes, and time and place changes. Let's carry on with the examples. Direct speech, I'll always love you. I'll always love you. She said that she would always love me. She said that she would always love me. So here we have an example of the future simple, I will. And we need to, when we have the future simple with will, somewhere down here I have it. Yeah, we need to put the reported speech with would. So if it's will in the direct speech, it's would in the reported speech. Next example, I passed the exam. This time the verb is in the past, in the direct speech. So what do we use when the verb is in the past? That's wrong, I didn't want to do that. We saw earlier that when the verb is in the present, in the direct speech, we need to use the past in the reported speech. So when the verb is in the past, we need to use the past perfect. So here's an example of the past perfect. The past perfect, a tense that is in this level, is with had plus the past participle. I passed the exam. He told me that he had passed the exam. But normally a native speaker would say, he told me he'd passed the exam. So this, the here would be very small and you may not hear it. And in fact, if you see what I've written down here, it is possible to just repeat. When we have a direct speech in the past, it is possible to actually just say it in the past. So you would probably hear 2 things here. You would either hear, he told me that he'd passed his exam, or you could just omit, it's possible to admit it and just say, he told me that he passed the exam. Probably most correct is that one, he passed. But some people would just say he passed. One other thing to notice about this one here is that for the first time we are using the other reporting verb. Instead of, in these ones, we're using say the past of say is said. In this one, we're using tell. And the past of tell is told. So basically, the difference is that when we use tell, we include the object. Notice here that we have the object. The object. We cannot say, a lot of people make this mistake and they say, he said me that I don't know, doesn't matter. But this is wrong. You cannot say he said me. You either say he said, or if you want to say the person who received the message, you need to say he told me. Yeah, that I am. So this is the difference between say and tell. With said, we're not putting anything here, nothing. Let's make a big red X, nothing. And with tell, we need to include the person who received the object. He told me, we're going to use there an object pronoun. So the object pronouns will be me, you, him, her, it, or we can put a name there. He told Richard, he told Israel, or we can use an object pronoun. He told me, he told you, he told him, he told her, he told us, and he told them. Either a name or an object pronoun. So past, change to the past perfect. I've lost my keys. This time we have an example of the present perfect. And in the present perfect, we're also using the past perfect. Here's the present perfect here. And also I'm using the past perfect. So it's the same. Oh, I see that one in yellow, yeah. So it's the same. Sorry, this should have been in yellow. And this one should have been in yellow. So basically, we are using the past perfect for when the verb is in the past in the direct speech, and also when the verb is in the present perfect. It's the same. Only when it's in the past simple, we can leave it in the past. When it's in the present perfect, we cannot leave it in the past. Again here, I've put he had, and I put in brackets he. This would normally be contracted. So he told me he'd lost his keys. I can't go. I can't go. Direct speech. I can't go. Direct speech. And the reported speech. She said that she couldn't go. So this time we're using the modal verb can, or in this negative can't. So when we have can, it becomes could. And when we have can't, it becomes couldn't. Next example, I may be late. This time using the modal verb may, which we use for possibility. And if we have may in the reported speech, in the direct speech, then we need to use might in the reported speech. Actually got this one the wrong color. I want to do these ones green. So let's make that green. Finally, I must do my homework. Obligation. I must do my homework. When we report that, we said she said that she had to do her homework. We have to use had to, because there is no past of must. And finally, I've got that one there. And just a note here, if it's in negative mustn't, there is no change. For example, better put an example up there, because if I said, for example, I mustn't, or let's give another example. You mustn't go in reported speech. Let's put that to make sure everybody knows that that's direct speech. You must go in reported speech would be, he told me that I mustn't go. It's the same. You can't put the negative. You can't change the negative. So these are the changes, the basic changes that you need to make when you want to use reported speech. So let me read these examples again, and then we'll see if there's any questions.
No.
No.
No questions? Everything is very clear. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay, let me read the examples. I like running. I think I'll read the examples and you can read the reported speech, okay? I like running. Nancy, read this one. Or you can actually use it like this and say, Richard
Okay.
said, blah, 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 okay? So I like
Okay.
running.
Richard saying me that he liked running.
Very good, but only you made the classic mistake, and that was that you put the me here. Remember, this is the problem with say we don't put the me. We tell you, Richard told me, but Richard said me no. That
Okay.
is
It's
incorrect.
good.
When you use say, it's a very common error. You don't put the person who received the message there. If you want to put the person who received the message, you need to use tell. Yeah. So, who's next? Raul. I like running.
Richard told me that he liked running.
Very good. Yeah. Israel, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Okay. Richard was leaving the next day.
Well, yeah, Richard said he was leaving the next day. In the case of this, the next day, see, if you repeat the same day, like you're repeating it the same day, I said it today, and you're repeating it the same day, it's not necessarily to put the next day. But if I tell you today and you tell somebody else tomorrow or in a week's time, then you need to put the next day. You need to make the time changes. If you're still in the same time, that's what I put down here actually. If the words were spoken in a different time or place, the time and place words need to change. In this particular case, it's the same time. It's the same day, so we don't need to change it. We can just say tomorrow. I'll always love you.
Who?
You can do that one, Nancy. Yeah.
Richard told me that he would always love me.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. The
Good?
next one.
No.
Very good. Yeah. I passed the exam, Raul.
Richard said that he'd passed the exam.
Very good. Only the pronunciation, yeah, the pass is past.
Okay.
Past. Not passed. Past.
Past.
Israel, I've lost my keys. I've lost my keys.
Richard told me he lost his keys.
Good. I can't go. Who's going to do that one? I think it's Nancy.
He told me that he couldn't go.
Very good. Yeah, I may be late, Raul.
Richard told me that he might be later.
Yeah, it might be late. Very good. Yeah.
Late.
I must do my homework, Israel.
Richard Richard told me she had to do her homework
Yeah,
Sorry.
good. In this case, because it's me, we need to say do his homework. Yeah. Finally,
Okay.
you mustn't go, Nancy.
He told me that I mustn't go.
Very good. Okay, so far then we've seen statements. Now we need to look at questions. How do we report questions? So I've got some examples of questions here. First of all, I've got 4 questions here. 2 are yes and no questions. That is, they don't have a question word, and 2 have question words. 2 have question words. So the first one is a yes or no question. Are you married? This is the direct speech again. Are you married? And the reported speech is, she asked him if he was married. She asked him if he was married. So what we need to do there is we need to, first of all, like as previously, we need to use a reporting verb. But this time, because it's a question, we're not using say or tell, we're using the reporting verb ask. And the past of ask is asked.
Asked.
Yeah, asked. And secondly, we need to, because this is a yes or no question, we need to use if he was married. We need to use if. And thirdly, we need to change the verb as we did before, so the present becomes the past. So we need to do the same 3 things that we did before. Well, we need to do all the things we did before. We need to do the 3 things we did before, which was basically add the reporting verb, change the tense, and change the pronoun. Those are the 3 things we did before. But additionally, we need to do other things. One is if it's a yes or no question, we need to add if. And the other one is the word order, because in the question, it's are you married? So it's verb plus subject. But here it's if he was. So it's subject verb. So we're not using the question form in the reported speech. Here's another example. This time it's in the past. Did she buy it? A question in the past. Direct speech. He asked me if she had bought it. He asked me if she had bought it. So the first thing we're doing here is we are using asked. Asked is like tell, it has the me after it. It's got the me here. And then the next thing we're doing is we're adding the if, because it's a yes or no question. And then we're going to change the tense from the present to the past perfect. We've also got here we don't need to change the pronoun. That's the same, but we do need to change the word order. Well, we're not using here, we are not using the did, because we don't use the question form. So it's, he asked me if she had bought it. He asked me if she had bought it. Now, the other 2 questions are not yes or no questions, so they don't have the if. So let's have a look. Where do you live? A question in the present simple. Question in the present simple. Where do you live? I asked him where he lived. I asked him where he lived. So notice again, we are not using the do. This is a question in the present, so we got the verb change. Again, the verb is in the past. Where do you? Where do you? We're changing the pronoun from you to he. I asked him where he lived. And finally, the last example, what did you do last night? Another question with a question word. What did you do last night? He asked me what I had done the night before. So again, this is a question in the past. Here we're using the past perfect, but we're not using the question form. And also we're changing last night to the night before, time change. So a lot of changes in the questions. Under here, I've got the rules. Hope I'm still live because I just lost the connection for a minute. In questions, the tense changes are the same. With yes or no questions, that is without a question word, we need to add the if. Here we got the if here. We also need to change the word order, and we do not use do or did if it's in the past simple or the present simple. So any questions about this one?
No, but
Okay,
it's
so
difficult.
let's try what we did before. So if I say, he said, oh, sorry, it's not he said, he asked. He asked me, I'll ask you some questions, I think. So Nancy, are you married? So he asked me.
Are you married?
Yeah, I asked you that, but you want to report it. So you say, Richard asked me.
Okay.
Are you married? And then you're going to report. So you say, Richard asked me.
Richard asked me if I was
Yeah,
married.
very good. Yeah, very good. Richard asked me if I was married. Raul, let's try one with you. Do you live in Argentina?
Richard asked me if I lived in Argentina.
Very good. That's not a question. Sorry, it's reported. Israel, can I ask you, do you speak English?
Richard asked me if I okay.
Speak English.
Spoke.
Speaking.
Yeah, spoke.
Es que es en el pasado.
Yeah, because the present of speak. The present
Spoke English.
is spoke. Good. Okay, so I think that's covered questions. What else have we got here? Reporting commands or imperative. If we want somebody to do something, we use the imperative, like go away. It's very direct. We don't usually use the imperative in normal conversation. Go away, don't do it. When we report the imperative commands, first of all, when we form the imperative, when we make commands, we just use the verb with no subject. It's the only time in English where we use the verb with no subject. Go away, don't do it. This is a positive, this is a negative imperative. So when we report these, we need to put the verb in the infinitive with to. Go away, she told him to go away. And if it's negative, we're going to use not plus to plus base verb, or not plus to infinitive. Don't do it, he told me not to do it. Okay, one final comment. Back here and here, I told you that you need to make these tense changes. So one final comment, if the situation hasn't changed, it isn't necessary to change the verb tense. So I've got some examples. For example, John has brown eyes. He told me that John has brown eyes. Here we're not changing the tense because it's a fact. I mean, John's eyes didn't change color from when I last spoke to you, from when I last saw him. He had brown eyes yesterday. He's got brown eyes today, and he's going to have brown eyes tomorrow. So no need to change the tense if it's a fact, if it's something that's still true. Something like that is always true. I love my job could or could not always be true. You might love your job one day and not the next day, but assuming that it's always true, again, it isn't necessary to change the tense. He still loves his job. So Mike told me that he loves his job. Another one, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is another fact. So the teacher told us that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Good. Spelled cell. What is wrong with that? So you don't need to change the tense there, but you could change the tense there. I mean, you could with this one. You could say, John told me. He told me John had brown eyes. He told me that he loved his job. The teacher told us that water boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. You can use both of them. You can use both forms. She spelled Celsius wrong. That's why it's up there. So you can use both forms, but I think in this example, especially in this one here, definitely you wouldn't normally change the tense. In this one here, depends on the situation more. What else? I think that's more or less everything. I've got some more examples. Let me just stop this for 1 minute and reshare it because it's got some more examples. So I think I'll just read these examples. My parents are well. Here's a direct speech. Mike said that his parents were well. I'm going to buy a new car. Maria said that she was going to buy a new car. Steve has a new job. She told me that John, this is wrong actually. Should be
Steve.
Yeah, Steve, and also I put the verb wrong, had a new job. I can't come to the party on Friday. She said that she couldn't come to the party on Friday. I don't have much money. She said that she didn't have much money. I'm going away for a few days. I'll phone when you get back. She told me that she was going away for a few days and would phone me when she got back. So this is more complicated because we've got 1, 2, 3, I think 3 or 4 verbs in there. We need to change all the verbs. Will you be home soon? She asked her husband if he would be home soon. Go to bed. He told the children to go to bed. I'll clean the car tomorrow. Tim told his father that he would clean the car tomorrow. Sorry, would clean the car the following day. We need to change tomorrow to the following day. Where have you been? Gary asked his wife where she had been. I've been working for the same company since 1980. He told me that he had been working for the same company since 1980. Here we have the present perfect continuous in the direct speech, and in the reported speech, we need to use the past perfect continuous. You must try my homemade wine. He said that I had to try his homemade wine. Can I go home now? He asked her if he could go home then. So here we have now, and then we say then, because it's not now anymore. I may not be able to meet you at the airport. He said to her, here I've got the person who said it. He told her that he might not be able to meet her at the airport. Remember, may becomes might. Very good. Okay, I think that's everything. I think I've got some questions. Looks like I didn't finish these questions. I thought I had more than that. I did more. I didn't save it. Let's delete that. But anyway, we got 12 questions. So the hotel is full. This is a direct speech. She told me the hotel. Nancy, Raul.
Was full.
Yeah, very good. She told me the hotel was full. I'll
Was.
call the manager. He said,
Mm,
anybody? Anybody in the chat?
Would call the manager.
Yeah, very good. He said that is optional. He said that he would
Wouldn't.
call
Could.
the manager. Remember, will is would. He said that he would call the manager. And this would be contracted again. He said he'd call the manager. He said he'd call the manager. I may be late.
I might be late.
Yeah,
He
he
said
said he,
might.
not me, no, remember, not me, Nancy.
Okay.
Might.
Me is with tell, remember. He told me. He said he might be late. Good. I didn't tell anybody this time. We better put it with he. He
told me.
Yeah, he told me.
He told me that
He had.
he hadn't told or tell. I tengo
Told, because
told
here we
anybody.
need to use the past participle.
Oh,
He told me
yeah.
that he hadn't told anybody. Good. Can you help me? Actually, these should have things here. I need to put in. I must have forgotten to save this file. He asked me.
Could.
He asked me. It's a yes or no question.
Could.
If,
yeah.
Cold.
He
could,
asked me if.
Cold.
could him. No.
Yeah, he asked
Cold.
me if. What happened? Sorry, something happened here. I see. Yeah. Let's try and get that back. Yeah. Here, which one are we on? He asked me if. Yeah.
Could help me.
If
Could.
I could
No.
help him. He asked me if I could help him.
Uh-huh.
He asked me if I could help him. Do you want a cup of coffee?
He asked.
Ask.
Okay.
He asked me.
Mike asked me
If
I
won't, es el pasado.
Yeah, what's the past of want? Roll.
wanted.
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 Wanted a
Wanted.
cup of coffee. He asked me if I wanted a cup of coffee. Have you been to China?
He asked me.
He if I have
If I had been, we need to use, this is in the present perfect. So here we need to use the past perfect. He asked me if I had been to China. What music do you like? Maybe it's better to say here, what kind of music do you like?
He asked me what. Did you like?
No, remember, we're not going to use did in these answers, in the reported speech, sorry. He asked me what kind of music.
Liked?
Yeah,
no.
I liked. Where's the nearest bank?
She asked me.
Where?
Yeah, very good. Hi, we got Clementi in the chat. Hi, Clementi in the conference.
The nurse.
He asked me
The
where.
nearest.
Good.
No, nearest.
Nearest.
It.
The
It
nearest bank
bank
was.
was. Right.
Yeah, because we're not using the question form. So here it's, where is the nearest bank? And here it's, the nearest bank was. Be quiet.
She told me.
He,
Yeah, I mean, you could say he told me or she told us. Or let's say he told me.
he told me was quiet.
No, he told me.
No.
This is an imperative. This is a command. Be quiet. He told me.
Had to?
Was
No.
quiet. No, was.
No.
No, he told me to be quiet. So remember, if you have the imperative, is just a verb in English. When we report it, we need to put the infinitive with to. And here we have a negative. Don't tell anyone. He told me.
Didn't. Sería.
No, this is an imperative.
Oh.
Oh, it's not an imperative. Is it an imperative? No, I'm confused. No, it's just present simple negative. Sorry. Wait a minute. Yeah, sorry. It's a negative imperative. Don't do it. It's like a command. Yeah. So we need to use this structure. He don't tell anyone. He told me. Anybody?
Oh, didn't tell anyone?
No, because this is an imperative. That means like if I say to the
If. No.
let me try and give you another example. Present, if it was present simple, it would be something like you don't need to do your homework. This could be direct speech. So this is present simple. This is present simple because it has here a subject. But in this case, there is no subject. It's not you don't tell anyone. It's don't tell anyone. It's a command. So when we have this one here, you don't need to do your homework. He
told me that
I didn't
I didn't
need to do my
tell.
homework. In this case, we're going to use didn't because this is present simple, past simple. But here, don't tell anyone is imperative. He told me
That?
not to
Don't
tell
tell?
anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, not to. If we have a negative, there's no subject here, no subject. So that means it's imperative. So we're going to get the verb and put not in front of it, plus the not plus to plus the base form of the verb. Please switch off your cell phones. This is another one. It's like the previous one, but it's positive.
He told me.
Off.
With these imperatives, you can't use say. You can only use tell. He told us.
He told us.
Off your cell phone.
To switch off
Told
cell phones. It's another imperative.
me.
Yeah, we could use, we could change this switch or turn off. It's the same.
Man.
Synonymous. Down there. He told us to turn off or switch off our cell phones. Okay, very good. I think with that, I did have more questions, but I lost them, unfortunately. So with that, we've finished this class. Well, it was nearly an hour anyway. So thank you very much. Clementi, I think you just joined the class late. Israel, Nancy, Raul, everybody in the chat, Scarlett, Fanny, Claudia, Irma, Beatrice, Ramo, Edison. And see you next Tuesday, I think, with another class. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.